Welcome to Moments with Marianne. This is your host, Marianne Pastana. We're here today with special guest, Dr. Danielle Armour, who's here to share with us her new book, Awaken Your Body, Awaken Your Desire, using science to heal your stress and find your sexual vitality. So what if the stress you carry every day is the very thing shutting down your energy, connection, and vitality? How do you overcome that? Well, today's guest is here to share with us just that. Dr. Danielle Armour is a psychotherapist, clinical sexologist, and nervous system specialist with over 15 years of experience helping women and couples restore balance, resilience, and connection. Drawing on neuroscience, somatic healing, and cognitive restructuring, she offers a compassionate, science-based approach that reframes stress and disconnection as the body's natural way of seeking safety. Through practical tools like breathwork, yoga, mindfulness, and nervous system regulation, Dr. Armour guides people in cultivating self-awareness, confidence, and a renewed sense of vitality. So welcome to the show, Dr. Danielle Armour.
Thank you so much. I'm so happy to be here with you.
Well, what an honor it is to have you here, and congratulations on your new book. I mean, what an accomplishment that is.
Thank you. Yes, I'm so excited to share it with the world.
So, what even inspired you to write Awaken Your Body, Awaken Your Desire?
Mm. So, while my research for the book was already in progress when this came out, let's take Greta Gerwig's Barbie movie and that monologue by the character Gloria, played by the amazing America Ferrera, as a way to set the scene for my inspiration. In the monologue, Gloria captured the impossible double binds women live under in a way that resonated with all of us. Be everything to everyone, look good doing it, and never need anything, right? And that's exactly it. Women are socialized to give endlessly their time, their care, their bodies. They're told to be sexy, but not too much, be selfless, but also ambitious, nurturing, but never needy. And philosopher and author Kate Mann calls this human giver syndrome, this conditioning from very early ages to tune in to everyone else's needs while ignoring our own, right? It's that give, give, give. And I've worked with women for over 15 years, and I continuously see how deeply this takes a toll. Women are exhausted. When you're stretched that thin, connection and intimacy naturally get deprioritized. It's not that women don't care about being intimate with their partners, it just ends up on the same endless list of things they have no energy left for. So they come into my office saying things like, I love my partner and I want to feel close, but even thinking about being intimate shuts me down. And it's sometimes about a lack of desire or arousal, but it's also sometimes due to discomfort or pain. And sometimes it's just feeling nothing at all, emotionally or physically. And most of these women come to me after trying the standard healing paths that our society will often suggest. They took the medications, likely an antidepressant, to see if a boost in mood would help. They went to pelvic floor physical therapy to manage the pain. And maybe that helped the mechanical issue, but they still had no desire. And maybe they even saw a psychotherapist before me. But let me be clear, in most cases, it's not a trained sex therapist or clinical sexologist. So talking about sexual health isn't really on the table. That in and of itself blows my mind, but it's another conversation altogether. So these women felt like they tried everything and nothing worked. They believed they were broken, uniquely so. But when I see them, I don't see brokenness. I see these nervous systems that are stuck in survival mode, right? The stress has been running the show for so long that the body's stress response system, which is called the HPA axis, keeps pumping out cortisol and adrenaline. And while that's great for survival, it dials down the systems that support connection, pleasure, and intimacy. And so, do we really need to wonder why desire goes missing? I don't think so. But all of that is to say that I wrote Awaken Your Body, Awaken Your Desire to help women reclaim their agency, reconnect with themselves, care for the bodies the way their bodies, excuse me, the way they deserve, and ultimately to learn to tune into their own needs with the same compassion that they offer everyone else.
Well, I'm so glad you brought up that monologue because I think that really resonates with so many women.
Mhm.
We're
Yeah.
expected to be feminine, but also take charge and to have energy for everybody else. And it went on and on and on. And I think so many women resonate with that, this
Uh-huh.
dichotomy of what we're supposed to show up as. And it's really kind of counter to how we want to be ourselves.
Right, absolutely. It's wear all the hats, play all the roles, right? Be in charge of it all, but don't be bossy, right? You have to be relatable. You have to be just managing everyone's emotions all the time.
Mm-mm-mm. Well, in your book, I know you describe this book as an invitation rather than a manual. Can you explain what you mean by that?
Yes. And thank you for noticing that piece because it's really, really important to me. So many women already feel like they're failing or are somehow behind their peers. The last thing we need is another checklist of rules telling us how to fix ourselves. When I say invitation, I mean the book isn't about pressure. It's not about performance. It's not about comparison. It's about gentle pathways back to yourself. Each practice, whether it's a really simple breath pattern to calm the nervous system, a gentle movement to release bracing, or a reflection question to shift shame, is offered like a hand held out for support, not a demand, right? You choose what resonates and when. And that's why it's an invitation. It meets women where they are and honors their agency.
Well, I like how you even start the book with the author's note. You are your own best guide. I am honored to walk beside you. I mean, what a powerful statement.
Yeah, right. Because there are so many experts in this world, right? But no one is an expert on you. You are the only expert on you, right? We can guide you, we can help you to heal, we can be on the path with you, but it really has to be you taking the lead.
Well, thank goodness you have all the credentials to back all this up. Because I think a lot of us get really confused like, okay, so I'm feeling this way. I don't really feel like I'm resonating with anything. What do I do next? So it's so nice to have that expert walking with us.
Yes, yes.
In your book, you say that stress lives in our tissues. Can you explain what that means for sexual health?
Yes, I would love to. When I say stress lives in our tissues, I mean stress isn't just in your mind, it's in your body, your meat suit, right? The thing that moves you through this world. So think about the last time you were anxious or overwhelmed. Your shoulders tighten, your jaw clenches, your breath gets shallow. Now imagine carrying that bracing effect all of the time. Many women are, and they don't even know it, especially in the pelvis, the hips, and the core, the very places we need softness and circulation for pleasure. Physiologically, when we stay in survival mode too long, our muscles and fascia, which is that connective tissue that wraps around everything, hold tension. Blood flow gets rerouted away from the genitals. The nervous system keeps sending stay safe, stay on guard signals. That's very wise for survival, but it makes arousal and connection really hard. So, when I say stress lives in our tissues, I mean our bodies remember. And here's the key: no amount of thought experiments or overanalysis can undo that on its own. We can't just think our way into desire. And I know that's confusing because we're told desire lives in the mind and arousal lives in the body. But the body has to feel safe first. So until we address that stored tension and help the nervous system soften, intimacy will feel far away no matter how much we love our partner or how hard we try to figure it out.
So, as you started talking about, okay, so our jaws are clenched, we're feeling the stress. I'm sure there are a lot of women going, "Ooh, I'm doing that right now." So,
Mm-hmm.
having that kind of little marker in the road to say, "Hey, let go and de-stress." I mean, how important is that?
Yeah, it's incredibly important, right? We're walking around with our shoulders on as earrings all of the time, right? We're so tense that our shoulders become earrings.
Oh, hey, you're singing to the choir on that one. So so with knowing this, why does chronic stress affect desire so profoundly?
Mm. So, desire is a luxury to a stressed brain. Biologically, when cortisol and adrenaline dominate, your hypothalamus, remember that HPA axis I mentioned earlier, this is the H, tells your body to prioritize survival over connection. Hormones like estrogen and testosterone fall out of balance, and the brain's pleasure chemicals, or bliss chemicals, as I like to call them, like dopamine and oxytocin, drop. So it's not that women stop wanting, it's that their bodies are wisely focused on getting them through the day. So then, on top of that, you add that cultural pressure to perform and to please. And that survival mode gets locked in the on position, right? And so the hopeful part is that healing isn't about forcing desire. It's about teaching the nervous system to downshift, right? So that those pleasure circuits can fire again.
That's such an important piece. And when we talk about the chronic stress in our bodies, how can we get to a place where we could start releasing that chronic stress?
Hmm. You know, some of the most simple ways to release chronic stress is to slow down, right? We are moving through this world all of the time in such a busybody mode. And we need to slow down and tune in and listen. And we don't often want to do that, right? Because we're wearing so many hats and playing so many roles. We think that if we stop and we take a breath, right, we won't come out of the gate with that same confidence that we've had, right? A really good example is we're in this mindset of fake it till you make it and we don't even realize it, right? So simply noticing your breath patterns, right? Simply noticing if you are holding your breath because you're so tense. I really have to say that breath is the easiest way to start changing that stress pattern in your body.
Now, is there a simple exercise you can walk us through right now so we can get like an idea of how to use our breath to release stress?
Yeah. So, my favorite breathwork practice, and I will be honest, this is my personal go to, is what I call the 4 sips. And the reason why the 4 sips is so important to me is that it activates the vagus nerve, which is part of the parasympathetic nervous system, right? That rest and digest system. And it carries the signals between your brain and your body that help lower your heart rate, right? It calms those stress hormones and creates the safety state that we need to move through the world with intention, right? And so the 4 sips are 4 sips of air through the nose and an elongated exhale through the mouth. And so it feels a little funny at first, right? It might make you want to wiggle your nose or sneeze, but it's 4 sips in. I'm hoping this will come across as I do it. It's pause, push the air out. And I will tell people that for me, I'm using this often, right? I see clients back to back all day. I will do this in between my sessions just to help myself stay grounded. I really want to move through the world intentionally. And I believe that the 4 sips is a really quick, calming breath practice that you only need to do 3 to 5 rounds of to really feel the benefits from.
I was doing that with you and I could feel it change, make a shift
Hmm.
immediately. So, what a great practice.
Yeah, yes, it's my favorite.
I can see why. I can see why. Well, I know many women feel like their bodies are, and I'm doing air quotes, like broken.
Hmm.
So, how do we reframe this belief?
This is where I get really passionate, Marianne. I hear this all the time. Something must be wrong. I'm broken. And I want every woman listening to know you are not broken. What you're feeling is a normal and adaptive response to chronic stress, to pressure, and to trauma that you may have experienced. Your nervous system has been trying to protect you. That survival wiring shuts down desire, but it doesn't mean you're defective. It means your body is wise. And I know that I've said that a lot, right? I've said it's a wise response, but I really want listeners to know that our body is wise. It is going to do whatever it can to help us. And if you've been stuck in a survival state, the hopeful part here is that our nervous systems are adaptable. They can learn safety and connection again. And when women understand that their lack of desire isn't a personal failing, but rather a predictable, reversible state, that shame starts to lift
So, that's something we can reset within our bodies?
easily. Yes, very easily. But it takes tuning in, right? It takes allowing yourself to connect to yourself.
That's so important. And one of the things I really appreciate about your book is you blend neuroscience and mindfulness and somatic practices. So, why was it so important to bridge science with sensation?
Mm. A lot of women have been told their struggles are either all in their head or the complete opposite, are purely physical. But it's both. Neuroscience gives us the why. It explains how stress reshapes the nervous system and how practices like slow breathing or gentle movements can calm that overactive alarm system. But information alone doesn't heal. You can't just think your way into desire, at least not when your body is stressed. Healing has to be felt in the body. That's where mindfulness and somatic practices come in. They help women tune into their bodies safely so they can experience those shifts directly. So, when you combine the science that explains what's happening with practices that let women feel safe and connected to themselves, it's incredibly empowering. And I wanted women to have both the knowledge and the embodied tools because that's how real change happens.
I think that's such an important piece because while a lot of us want the science behind things, how things work, we're just such in a great place where mindfulness and somatic practices can help us get there, maybe for people who are new to that.
Mhm. Yeah, absolutely. Right. I think that, we are often intellectualizing so much of what we're experiencing, right? Even our feelings, we're analyzing, right? We're stuck in that cognition, that thinking state all of the time. And really we have to feel our way through the majority of things that we encounter.
You must get a lot of people that come to you that are at this place where they're looking for information and maybe they've done all the science part of it, but they still can't seem to get over whatever that invisible barrier is.
Yeah, exactly. And earlier when we were talking about it living in your tissues, it really is that your body remembers, right? So maybe you did uncover what you needed to uncover, and you are still not feeling like you thought you would feel, right? We can use our brain, we can think our way through it, and then we have to get into our body and we have to pair that mindset work with that somatic work.
Well, let's dive into that a little bit. For people who are new to somatic practices, can you share what somatic practices are? And especially because I know in your book you talk about somatic tracking and how that helps us.
Yeah, yes. Yeah. So somatic practices are using the body to move through emotions, to move through feelings, to move through things that are coming up for you, right? The word soma is the body. That's exactly what it means. And so somatic tracking is really just the practice of noticing what's happening in your body with curiosity instead of fear or judgment, right? So many women who feel shut down or in pain start to brace against their bodies, right? And then their brain starts to go. They'll think, why am I numb? Why am I tense? Something's wrong with me, right? That self criticism, which just adds more alarm to the nervous system. With somatic tracking, right, and somatic practices, you gently observe sensations. Maybe it's a flutter in your chest or a tightness in your hips. And instead of panicking, you simply notice, oh, there's tension here. And I can be with it safely. That alone starts to calm the brain's danger signals. Over time, this teaches your nervous system, I can feel without being in danger. And once the body feels safe again, or maybe for the first time, there's room for connection and pleasure.
So, in your book, you talk about the role of movement like yoga, and we've kind of gone over breath work, how this reawakens our desire. Can you share that with us?
Yes. So when we're braced, right? When our body is braced and we're stuck in survival mode, pleasure feels far away, almost inaccessible. Both breath and movement directly change your physiology, right? That feeling of being stuck in your body. So, different breath techniques, for example, can help regulate the nervous system and, like I said earlier, engage the vagus nerve, which lowers the stress chemistry and helps your body to feel safer. Yoga, specifically, will boost circulation, it releases fascial tension, and can increase pelvic mobility. Research shows mindful movement also boosts dopamine and endorphins, those very neurotransmitters that are tied to arousal. So essentially, movement and breath are some of the fastest ways to shift from survival mode into connection mode.
What an important piece that is.
Mm.
Well, I really like your book talks about that there are daily you have a daily healing plan that takes only 27 minutes, and that's not a long time. So, why did you design it this way?
Yeah, it isn't a long time. And thank you for saying that, because I know so many of us are moving through our days like, "Ah, I just don't have time for anything." And that's exactly it, right? Women don't need another 2 hour self improvement project. Most of the women I work with are already stretched thin. Work, caregiving, and all of those impossible expectations that we talked about. If healing feels overwhelming, it just becomes another thing to feel guilty about. So I designed this 27-minute plan to fit real life and to also align with what we know from neuroscience, which is that short, consistent practices create real change. So each day combines breath work, gentle movement, reflection, and rest, enough to shift the nervous system and build safety without burning out. We don't need more burnout. Healing desire isn't about heroics, it's about small, doable practices you can actually repeat. And not only that, that you'll look forward to, because, like what you experienced, Marianne, from that moment of breathing, right? When you feel it for yourself, you'll want to do it. And so, those 27 minutes over time teach your body how to feel safe, connected, and open to pleasure.
It's really doing that self care for ourselves where we
Yeah.
can really tap into our body at such a beautiful level.
Exactly. Exactly that. Right. Self care is tuning in. It's not what we see on the internet about self care, right? It really is listening to what you need.
So, what kind of changes have you seen in clients who practice these tools really consistently?
Uh, so the first changes are often small, but so meaningful, and they feel good, right? Women start waking up with more energy, sleeping deeply, laughing more. They notice their bodies feeling more at ease and alive. Their shoulders are dropping, their breath is flowing, a sense of lightness replacing that old bracing feeling. They tell me they feel present and engaged again. They're able to savor moments instead of running on autopilot. And as that sense of well being grows, intimacy shifts too. Sometimes it's more desire, sometimes less pain, and often simply wanting closeness again without dread. And maybe most importantly, their sense of self blossoms, right? They stop believing they're broken and they start trusting their body's capacity for safety and connection. And those ripples go everywhere. More joy in relationships, more joy in parenting, even work. When you feel good and safe in your body, it transforms far more than just your sex life.
So, how does journaling and affirmations contribute to our desire and vitality?
Our thoughts shape how safe or unsafe our bodies feel. When women are stuck in loops of self criticism, right? I'm not enough. Something's wrong with me. Their nervous system reads that as a threat. Journaling helps bring those unconscious scripts into the light. It gives you a space to notice the stories you're telling yourself and to start shifting them. Affirmations, on the other hand, add a new language for your nervous system. When you practice simple, believable statements like, my body is wise, or I deserve rest and pleasure, over time, your brain and body start to believe them. Neuroscience calls this neuroplasticity, the brain's ability to rewire. That mental and emotional safety supports physical safety. So, as shame softens and self compassion grows, the body feels freer to open up to connection and pleasure.
Well, on the flip side of this, so how does social media affect our pleasure and desire systems?
Social media hijacks the same dopamine circuits that govern pleasure. Constant scrolling gives these fragmented dopamine hits, which dull our sensitivity to slower, more embodied pleasure. There's also a big cultural piece here, right? Comparison, body shame, performance pressure, all of that activates stress chemistry instead of safety chemistry. Our Pleasure systems were built for presence, not push notifications. That doesn't mean you have to quit social media altogether, but noticing how it makes you feel and creating moments of true presence gives your nervous system room to respond to real life pleasure.
I know so many times when we're on social media, it can really seem like we're starting to get a little frazzled with all the
Mm.
information we're getting. And then there's that comparison piece as well, which is really kind of rough.
Yeah, it really is. It really is. And it steals our joy, right? We're all staring at our phones. We're looking at these phones for, things that we could be getting from our relationships, our friendships, our romantic relationships, our children. We just start to farm out this concept of joy and pleasure.
There's so much to be had. Like get outside and hug a tree or something,
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
If
Exactly.
if someone feels very disconnected from intimacy, what's the very first step they should take?
Yeah, that's a good question. If intimacy feels far away, I just want to say the first step isn't forcing yourself into it ever. The first step is reconnecting with yourself, noticing everything we're talking about here today, right? How stress lives in your body, and exploring what helps you feel safe and cared for without any pressure to perform. When safety and self connection come first, closeness with a partner can grow naturally from there.
That's such an important piece. Well, and it seems like and maybe I have this wrong, but are you seeing more women that are feeling like they're just disconnected from everything?
Yeah, absolutely. It's, that constant busy, right? Let's call it a busy mask, as Brene Brown does, right? We're moving through this world in such a tizzy, right? You're getting up in the morning, you're getting your kids ready maybe to go to school. If you're not getting your kids ready, you're rushing to get yourself out the door, right? It's ultimately this concept of we can't slow down. I know I said that to you earlier, but that's it. It's that we need to allow ourselves to connect to us, to what we need, to what we truly want and maybe have been told by society that we're not allowed to ask for.
Well, I really appreciate your book with this self-care piece because I think it's so huge. Because I've got to tell you, I mean, I've been to spas and I'm thinking about the million things I've got to do. And I'm like, can this person hurry up with my massage? Because I got to get out of here. So
Right.
being
Right.
able to be present, I mean, what a great piece that is.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. I really and truly believe that it changes everything.
So, how can partners support each other in this journey without feeling pressure or shame?
Mm. One of the most important things a partner can understand is that low desire usually isn't about them, right? Not always, but usually. And the other thing is that it's not their partner's fault that they have low desire, right? It's often the result of the chronic stress and cultural pressures that leave women overextended and disconnected. Healing takes time and space for nervous system repair and that self connection we were just talking about. And this isn't about bubble baths or quick fixes or days at the spa, right? It's about shifting patterns of rest, support, and safety. Partners can help by removing expectations, listening without defensiveness, and creating an environment where their partner feels safe to prioritize her well being. When there's safety and support, intimacy has a chance to grow. And I think the other piece here is prioritizing having fun together, right? Laughing, doing things that you enjoy, remembering what it was like to date and build positive anticipation with your shared experiences, right? Partners need to have fun together, they need to laugh.
Do you have partners that actually read your book together so that they're kind of on the same page?
I do. And I also, while this book is specifically about, women, it is also, these practices are great for everyone, right? They're breath work, somatic practices, all of it, mindset work. It's not specifically for one person or another, right? There's no gender requirement here. And so when I notice that my couples are dysregulated, I will teach them a breathwork practice. And I've had many people read this book together and do the practices together. Now, I will say, I advocate for this to be the stressed partner, right? So for our conversation, we're talking about women. I really advocate for women to take care of themselves and do this for themselves, right? Set this time aside, those 27 minutes, to be totally about you, and then encourage your partner to do another practice with you, right? There are many breathwork practices in my book, 13 to be exact, right? Find what you like and then you can share it with your people.
Well, you have so much in this book that we're not even touching on. You talked about the practices. I know you go over healing plans for 14 core concerns. You've got quite a bit. What do you hope readers and our listeners will remember most about this book?
I I really just want every woman who's listening and who reads my book to know that you're not broken and you never were. If stress or trauma has dimmed your desire, that's your body protecting you. And protection can shift if you want it to. Your nervous system is adaptable. Your body remembers how to feel and want. Most of all, I want women to know that they deserve to feel safe, connected, and powerful in their own skin. Intimacy isn't about pressure or performance. It's about reclaiming your right to pleasure and aliveness and asking for what you need. And I think I really just want to say here that you already have that wisdom inside of you. My book just helps you unlock it.
Well, Dr. Danielle Armour, where can our listeners go to connect with you and be part of your community and learn more about Awaken Your Body, Awaken Your Desire?
Yes. So first, my website is my name, daniellearmour.com. And I also post quite a bit on my social media, even though we talked about it hijacking our senses here. But I do talk quite a lot on my Instagram, which is Dr. Danielle Armour. So if you would like to connect with me, you can do so in either of those places.
Well, Dr. Armour, thank you so much for taking the time to be on the show with us here today.
Oh, thank you, Marianne. It was a pleasure.
Well, thank you, Dr. Danielle Armour. It has been such an honor to spend this time with you and to talk about your new book, Awaken Your Body, Awaken Your Desire, using science to heal your stress and find your sexual vitality. Awaken Your Body, Awaken Your Desire is available at Amazon, Barnes& Noble, and everywhere books are sold. And remember, support our indie bookstores. If you don't see it on the shelf, just ask for them to order it. Make sure to visit Dr. Danielle Armour at her website, daniellearmour.com. Be part of her community. There she's got some great resources in regards to either booking an appointment with her, scheduling time for intimacy coaching, and also she has a retreat coming up. So there's a lot of different avenues to take advantage of right there: therapy, retreats, and intimacy coaching, along with her book. Well, we're at the end of our time today. I'd like to thank everyone for tuning in. You've been listening to Moments with Marianne, where we make every moment count.
In a single moment, your life can change. Moments with Marianne is a transformative hour that covers an endless array of topics with the best of the best. Her guests are leaders in their fields, ranging from inspirational authors, top industry leaders, and business and spiritual entrepreneurs. Each guest is gifted and a true visionary, a recognized leader in her own work, and while teaching others to develop, refocus, and grow, Marianne will bring the best guest and sometimes a special surprise. Don't miss this. You never know just which moment will change your life forever. Make sure to tune in and visit momentswithmarianne.com for more information.